There are always tensions across government. There are people, different ministries trying to do different things. But all of us now are ministers for growth. And we have to make sure that growth is the absolute priority. Now, there are other departments may have other priorities, but we have to make sure that the economic recovery comes first and foremost.
What do you think your biggest battle will be within government?
Well, I don't see it as a battle. I think all ministers understand that growth is now the absolute essential. And we have to keep driving that. But our job in the Department of Business with the Treasury is to lead that and make sure all the other ministers are following suit.
Okay, and with the Home Office, we've got quite strict immigration laws. That's what businesses are telling us. And a number of other things across government which have come in the past to do with the engineering diploma and things like that. How are you encouraging across government growth, which is a question you also asked earlier on in the conference?
Well, on immigration, of course, the government also has a target of reducing immigration and controlling it better over the lifetime of this Parliament. And business has an interest in that, in ensuring there isn't any more illegal immigration. And our objective in business, of course, is not simply the number of people coming in, it's to simplify the procedure, to make it easier and simpler for business to get people in here when they're visiting from companies, or subsidiaries or whatever it is abroad, to making that easier and more efficient.
Do you think the Home Office's policies are supporting growth then?
Well, the government has overall targets, as an overall target of reducing immigration. And certainly uncontrolled immigration does not contribute to growth and is not in anybody's interest. So this was a problem that government has to get on top of and is getting on top of. And that means tackling bogus college degrees, for example, clamping down on some of the excess of family immigration, family members following in, and across a broad range of fronts, making sure we have a properly managed system of immigration. Now, for business, what matters is knowing they're going to be able to bring key people in relatively quickly and simply. And for small business, what matters is complying with the immigration requirements and how it's enforced, and we're looking at making that simpler.
It will take some time for the skills agenda to take place and for the real benefit to start coming through to manufacturers and other businesses. Do you think it would be beneficial for yourself and other ministers at BIS to tell the Home Office that immigration could benefit from a short-term allowance, perhaps 3 to 4 years, in order to stem the skills gap?
Well, the skills gap has to be tackled anyway, and we're doing that, as I outlined this morning, through STEM, through the STEM Ambassadors Programme, and above all, through encouraging numeracy, getting children at a very young age to start maths earlier and to study maths for longer, which is the key to their interest later on in science and in technology. So these things are not opposites. Properly managed immigration, is not an alternative to encouraging better skills here at home.
As we approach the end of the term, a couple of years' time, what would you say you will do to encourage Labour and other parties to get behind this industrial strategy? How will you go about it?
Well, I think they see that this has to be a long-term thing. If this is going to work at all, it has to be a longer-term strategy. And let's be fair, some of the changes we've seen in the turnaround of automotive didn't suddenly start in May 2010. They started earlier. They started actually under a previous Conservative government, which attracted Nissan to come to the northeast in the 1980s and then followed through with Toyota coming to the Midlands in the 1990s. So that's a very good example of how you need a long-term policy that both parties can support. And I think you've seen the Labour Party getting behind the industrial strategy that we've just announced.
To do this, will you meet with Labour?
Well, we meet with Labour all the time. We're in constant discussion with Labour. We're discussing the growth bill with them at the moment. That's what Parliament is about. That's what debate is about. I meet with the TUC, for example. I meet with the CBI. Our doors, Vince Cable's door and my door, we're open to anybody to get behind the industrial strategy and support it. And it doesn't matter whether you're Lord Heseltine or the General Secretary of the TUC or a Labour frontbencher. Our door is open.
Mr. Fallon, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys.